Have you ever jolted awake in the middle of the night, heart pounding, sweat beading on your forehead, trapped in the grips of a nightmare so real you could almost touch it? Those terrifying night visions, being chased through endless corridors, falling from impossible heights, or facing unspeakable monsters, they're more than just random firings of your sleeping brain. They're messages from your subconscious, cryptic communications trying to tell you something important about your waking life. Welcome to Decode Your Nightmares, 7 Terrifying Dreams and Their Hidden Messages. I'm your guide into the darkest corners of your sleeping mind, where we'll confront the most common nightmares people experience and unveil what they're really trying to tell you. Before we dive into the shadows together, remember that while dream interpretation has ancient roots spanning cultures worldwide, modern psychology offers fascinating insights into these nighttime narratives. Your subconscious speaks in symbols, and understanding its language could be the key to resolving anxieties, processing trauma, or gaining vital self-knowledge. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer in dream messages, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your nightmares the same way again. They may frighten you in the moment, but the wisdom they contain might be exactly what you need to hear. So take a deep breath, and let's decode the terrifying messages your mind has been trying to deliver while you sleep. You're walking normally when suddenly the ground disappears. You're plummeting through empty space, stomach lurching, a scream caught in your throat. The awful sensation feels eternal, until you jerk awake just before impact. The endless fall, possibly the most common nightmare across cultures and throughout recorded history. But what is your subconscious trying to tell you when you dream of falling? At its core, falling dreams typically reflect feelings of insecurity and anxiety. That sensation of having no control, no way to stop your descent, it's often your mind's representation of situations in your waking life where you feel helpless or out of control. Dr. Rosalind Cartwright, a pioneering sleep researcher, explains, dreams of falling often occur at the beginning of sleep. They represent a sense of letting go of control as we transition from consciousness to sleep. But there's more to it than simple loss of control. The specific context of your falling dream provides crucial clues. Falling from a specific height, like a building or cliff, often relates to concrete fears about failing at something specific, a project at work, an important relationship, or a personal goal. The higher the place you fall from, the higher the stakes feel in your waking life. Falling through darkness with no visible starting point or landing site typically reflects more generalized anxiety, a sense that things are spiraling downward without clear causes or solutions. This variant is common during major life transitions or periods of uncertainty. Falling after being pushed suggests you feel undermined or sabotaged by someone in your life. Your subconscious is processing feelings of betrayal or vulnerability to others' actions. Interestingly, anthropologists have found that in hunter-gatherer societies, falling dreams were often interpreted as the soul temporarily leaving the body during sleep. The jolt you feel when hitting the ground was seen as the soul returning. But here's the crucial insight about falling dreams: they typically occur when you're avoiding something important in your waking life. That terrifying sensation is your mind's way of saying, "Pay attention. This matters." The next time you experience a falling dream, instead of dismissing it as just a nightmare, ask yourself, what situations am I avoiding confronting? Where in my life do I feel I'm losing control? What important decision am I afraid to make? By facing these questions, you transform your nightmare from a terrifying experience into valuable self-knowledge. The fall isn't just a fall, it's a wake-up call. You're running, breath ragged in your chest, legs burning with exhaustion. Something is chasing you, maybe a monster, a shadowy figure, or even a tsunami or rolling boulder. No matter how fast you run, it's always right behind you. Sometimes your legs feel like lead, or you're trying to scream but no sound comes out. It's the nightmare of being pursued, and it's telling you something vital. Being chased in dreams is fundamentally about avoidance. Your pursuer represents something you're running from in your waking life, and your subconscious wants you to know it's time to stop running and confront it. Dr. Jennifer Parker, dream researcher at the University of the Pacific, notes, the identity of what's chasing you is incredibly significant. Your mind isn't choosing these symbols randomly. Let's decode what different pursuers might symbolize. Unknown shadow figures or faceless pursuers often represent aspects of yourself you're avoiding, perhaps traits you don't want to acknowledge or emotions you're suppressing. Carl Jung called these our shadow aspects, the parts of ourselves we hide from conscious awareness. Animals chasing you have specific meanings based on the creature. Predators like wolves or bears might represent primal fears or aggressive people in your life. Snakes often symbolize hidden threats or transformation. People you know chasing you typically connects directly to your relationship with them, unresolved conflicts, unexpressed feelings, or obligations you're avoiding. Natural disasters or vehicles in pursuit, like floods, avalanches, or runaway trains, often symbolize overwhelming life circumstances or inevitable changes you're trying to outrun. What's particularly revealing is how these dreams end. If you keep running without resolution, you're likely still avoiding the issue in your waking life. But if you eventually face your pursuer or find a hiding place, your subconscious may be working toward a solution. Psychotherapist Jane Teresa Anderson explains, when clients learn to turn and face their pursuer in recurring chase dreams, they often report breakthroughs in addressing long-standing issues in their waking lives. The nightmare of being chased invites important questions. What responsibility, emotion, or truth am I running from? What would happen if I stopped running and faced it? What resources do I need to confront what I've been avoiding? Some therapists even recommend a technique called dream re-entry, where you consciously reimagine your nightmare while awake, but this time you stop running and face your pursuer. This symbolic act can prompt surprising insights and emotional release. Remember, your pursuer may seem monstrous, but it's trying to deliver a message you need to hear. Sometimes the things we run from contain the very answers we need. The walls are closing in. You're stuck in a shrinking room, buried alive, trapped underwater unable to breathe, or frozen in place as danger approaches. Few nightmares trigger such primal panic as those where we're trapped and suffocating. The terror feels visceral, because it's communicating something urgent about your waking life. Claustrophobic nightmares are almost always about restriction and constraint in your life. Your subconscious is screaming, "I'm suffocating here. I need space. I need freedom." Neuropsychologist Dr. Patrick McNamara of Boston University explains, these dreams activate the same brain regions involved in actual breathing distress, creating genuine physiological fear responses. They're among the most effective alarm systems in our dream repertoire. The specific nature of your entrapment offers crucial clues to what's constraining you. Being buried alive or trapped underground often reflects feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities or expectations, as if the weight of your obligations is literally crushing you. Unable to move while danger approaches, sometimes called sleep paralysis nightmares, frequently connect to situations where you feel powerless to change threatening circumstances or unable to speak up when you should. Drowning or suffocation dreams commonly relate to emotional overwhelm. You're drowning in feelings or situations you can't process or escape. Trapped in a shrinking room or tight space typically symbolizes constraints on your independence or identity, relationships, jobs, or social roles that have become too restrictive. These nightmares often appear during major life transitions or decisions, when you feel your options narrowing or external forces controlling your choices. They're especially common among people facing career decisions with long-term implications, relationship commitments or conflicts, financial constraints limiting options, health issues restricting normal activities, and social or family expectations conflicting with personal desires. Cultural anthropologist Joseph Campbell noted that across diverse societies, confinement dreams consistently appear during rites of passage, suggesting they're connected to transformation and identity evolution. The nightmare reflects the death of an old self before rebirth. What makes these nightmares so terrifying, the sensation of not being able to breathe, directly connects to the root word for anxiety, which originally meant to choke or narrow. Your nightmare is the physical manifestation of your anxiety. When you experience these suffocating dreams, ask yourself, where in my life do I feel confined or restricted? What obligations or relationships make me feel I can't breathe? What would escape or freedom look like for me right now? The good news? Once you identify what's suffocating you in waking life, these nightmares often subside. Your subconscious no longer needs to sound the alarm once you're consciously addressing the problem. You're giving an important presentation, attending a meeting, or simply walking down a crowded street when you suddenly realize you're completely naked or inappropriately dressed. Horror floods through you as everyone stares. You try to cover yourself, but it's too late, you're completely exposed. This classic nightmare has plagued humans for centuries, appearing in literature and art throughout history. But what is your mind trying to tell you through this mortifying scenario? At its core, the naked in public dream centers on vulnerability, authenticity, and fear of judgment. Dream analyst Lori Lowenberg explains, clothing represents the social masks and roles we adopt. Being naked in dreams reflects fear that others will see through these disguises to our authentic, imperfect selves. The specific context of your exposure dream reveals important nuances. Being naked at work or school typically connects to imposter syndrome, the fear that you'll be exposed as inadequate, unprepared, or unqualified for your role. This variant is especially common among high achievers and perfectionists. Realizing you're naked mid-conversation often reflects social anxiety or fear of vulnerability in relationships, worry that showing your true self will lead to rejection. Being partially clothed or wearing inappropriate attire suggests you feel unsuited for specific situations or roles, like you don't quite fit in or belong. Searching desperately for clothes indicates anxiety about preparing for important events or responsibilities, fear you won't have what you need when the moment arrives. Surprisingly, how others react in your dream provides the most significant insight. If dream characters point and laugh, you're projecting your worst fears about judgment. But if no one notices or cares about your nakedness, common in many exposure dreams, your subconscious may be telling you that your fears of judgment are exaggerated. Evolutionary psychologists suggest these dreams may connect to ancient social survival mechanisms. Throughout human history, conformity to group norms protected individuals from exclusion, which once meant death. Your naked nightmare might be activating these primal social anxiety circuits. Cross-cultural research reveals that exposure dreams are nearly universal but take form specific to cultural taboos. In highly individualistic Western societies, personal exposure predominates, while in collectivist cultures, dreams more often feature exposing family secrets or bringing shame to the group. When these nightmares appear, ask yourself, where do I fear being exposed as inadequate or inauthentic? What aspects of myself am I afraid to show others? What's the worst that would happen if people saw the real me? The irony of exposure nightmares is that they often plague people who are already overly self-conscious. Your naked nightmare might actually be an invitation to worry less about others' judgments and embrace greater authenticity. Sometimes what we fear most, being truly seen, is exactly what we need. You run your tongue across your teeth and feel one wiggle. To your horror, it comes loose in your mouth. Then another follows, and another, until you're spitting out handfuls of teeth, blood pooling in your mouth. The teeth crumble, decay, shatter, or simply fall out one by one in an endless cascade of dental disaster. This stomach-churning nightmare is so common it appears in dream records dating back to ancient Egypt. But what could your subconscious possibly be trying to communicate through this disturbing vision? Teeth dreams are particularly fascinating because they sit at the intersection of multiple symbolic meanings across cultures and psychological frameworks. Dr. Michael Breus, clinical psychologist and sleep specialist, notes, tooth dreams consistently rank among the top 5 most common nightmares reported globally. Their prevalence suggests they tap into universal human anxieties. Let's examine the most compelling interpretations. Communication anxiety. Teeth are essential for speech, so losing them can symbolize fear of miscommunication, being silenced, or saying the wrong thing. This interpretation is particularly relevant if you've recently struggled to express yourself or fear speaking up. Loss of power or attractiveness. From an evolutionary standpoint, teeth signify health, youth, and vitality. Losing them may reflect anxiety about aging, declining vitality, or diminished attractiveness. Not coincidentally, these dreams often increase during midlife transitions. Financial insecurity. In many cultures, teeth represent wealth, think tooth fairy exchanges. Dreams of teeth falling out frequently spike during economic downturns or personal financial stress. Major life transitions. Anthropologically, tooth loss connects to natural development phases, losing baby teeth to gain adult teeth. Your dream may symbolize painful but necessary transitions, letting go of the old to make way for the new. Personal loss and grief. Losing something physical from your body often represents other losses you're processing. These dreams commonly occur after breakups, bereavements, or other significant losses. What's particularly telling is the specific way teeth fail in your dream. Teeth crumbling or decaying often connects to feelings that something in your life is rotting away or deteriorating gradually. Teeth being pulled out may indicate you feel something is being forcibly taken from you. Teeth falling out painlessly could suggest natural but significant transitions. Bloody, painful tooth loss typically connects to more traumatic or difficult changes. Interestingly, many dentists report that patients with these nightmares often clench or grind their teeth during sleep, bruxism, a stress-related condition. Your nightmare might literally result from physical tension in your jaw while sleeping. When tooth nightmares visit you, consider, what am I afraid of losing right now? Where do I feel powerless or unable to communicate? What painful transition am I resisting? Remember that across many spiritual traditions, dreams of losing teeth are actually considered omens of growth and renewal, the painful prerequisite for something new to emerge. Your dental disaster might be announcing an important transformation on the horizon. Corridors that lead nowhere. Staircases that double back on themselves. Doors opening to reveal more doors. You're wandering through an endlessly shifting landscape, perhaps a bizarre building, a warped version of your childhood home, or a town where the streets keep rearranging themselves. No matter how hard you try, you can't find your way out or reach your destination. Welcome to the Labyrinth Nightmare, one of the most psychologically complex dream scenarios your mind can create. This disorienting nightmare speaks directly to your sense of direction in life, not physical direction, but your path, purpose, and progress. Dream psychologist Dr. Ruben Naiman explains, labyrinth dreams reflect our relationship with life's journey itself. They appear when we've lost our sense of meaningful progress. The specific environment of your maze reveals crucial details about what's confusing you. Office buildings or institutional settings that become labyrinths frequently represent career confusion or bureaucratic frustrations, the sense that no amount of effort gets you closer to your professional goals. Your home or familiar places that transform into confusing layouts often reflect emotional or relationship disorientation, the sense that what should be most familiar now feels alien and unpredictable. City streets or landscapes that become inescapable mazes typically connect to larger life path questions, uncertainty about your overall direction or purpose. Schools or educational settings as labyrinths commonly appear when you feel lost in learning processes or unclear about what knowledge you need to progress. What's particularly significant is your emotional response within the dream. If you feel panic and desperate urgency to escape, you're likely experiencing acute anxiety about being trapped in your current life situation. If you feel resigned acceptance as you wander, you may be processing feelings of helplessness about your path. If you feel curious exploration despite being lost, your subconscious might be encouraging you to embrace uncertainty. Neuroscience offers fascinating insights into these dreams. Research suggests they activate the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for spatial navigation and memory formation. This dual function explains why labyrinth dreams often incorporate distorted memories and places from your past. You're not just spatially lost, you're temporally disoriented as well. Cultural anthropologist Dr. Angelis Arian notes that labyrinth symbols appear in virtually every civilization throughout history, from ancient Greece to Native American traditions. Unlike modern mazes designed to confuse, traditional labyrinths had a single path that, although winding, always led to the center. They were tools for meditation and spiritual journey. This distinction offers an important perspective on your nightmare. Perhaps you're not meant to escape the labyrinth but to move through it mindfully, understanding that disorientation is part of the journey. When labyrinth nightmares occur, ask yourself, where in my life do I feel directionless or confused? What destination am I trying to reach but can't find the path to? What would help me navigate my current life challenges more effectively? These dreams often appear during major life transitions, career changes, relationship evolutions, or identity shifts, when your old maps no longer apply and you're creating new ones. The nightmare isn't just showing you that you're lost, it's inviting you to become a better navigator. The sky turns blood red. Buildings crumble. Tidal waves engulf cities. Nuclear explosions bloom on the horizon. You're witnessing the end of the world, sometimes running for safety, sometimes merely watching in helpless horror as everything you know is destroyed. Apocalyptic nightmares rank among the most vivid and emotionally intense dream experiences. But what cataclysmic message is your subconscious delivering through these scenes of ultimate destruction? End-of-world dreams speak to transformation on the grandest scale, the death of old paradigms and the painful birth of new ones. Dream researcher Kelly Bulkeley, who has studied disaster dreams across cultures, explains, apocalyptic nightmares typically emerge during periods of profound personal transformation or societal change. They're the mind's way of processing the death of your old world. The specific nature of your apocalypse provides crucial insight. Natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, storms, often represent emotional upheaval or uncontrollable forces in your life, situations where you feel powerless against overwhelming circumstances. Technological catastrophes, nuclear war, AI takeover, technological breakdown, typically connect to anxieties about human progress, ethical boundaries, or unsustainable aspects of modern life. Zombie apocalypse or pandemic scenarios frequently symbolize fear of contamination, either literal health anxieties or metaphorical concerns about harmful influences spreading through your life or society. Astronomical events, meteor strikes, solar flares, often reflect bolt from the blue life changes, sudden unexpected developments that change everything at once. Your role in these dreams is particularly revealing. If you're frantically trying to escape or survive, you're likely actively resisting major changes in your life. If you're watching calmly as destruction unfolds, you may be processing inevitable transitions with greater acceptance. If you're helping others survive, your subconscious might be processing how to preserve what's valuable amid necessary change. If you're causing the destruction yourself, you might unconsciously desire to demolish certain aspects of your life to rebuild. Interestingly, apocalyptic dreams have surged during periods of historical upheaval. Dream researchers documented significant increases during the Cuban Missile Crisis, after September 11, during the 2008 financial crisis, and throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Your personal apocalypse may reflect collective anxieties as much as individual ones. Carl Jung theorized that these nightmares tap into the collective unconscious, accessing archetypal human experiences of destruction and renewal. Nearly every spiritual tradition features apocalyptic narratives, suggesting these cycles of catastrophic rebirth are fundamental to how humans process transformation. When these devastating dreams visit you, consider, what aspect of my life or identity is undergoing radical transformation? What am I afraid of losing in the process of necessary change? What might survive or be reborn after this symbolic destruction? Remember that in mythological traditions worldwide, apocalypse never means absolute end, it represents necessary destruction preceding rebirth. Your nightmare may be showing you that certain aspects of your life or self-concept need to die before something new can emerge. We've journeyed through 7 of humanity's most terrifying dream landscapes: the endless fall, the relentless pursuit, the suffocating trap, public exposure, dental disaster, the confounding labyrinth, and apocalyptic destruction. Each carries distinct messages from your subconscious, speaking in the primal language of symbols and emotions. But as we conclude our exploration, it's important to recognize that nightmares rarely appear in isolation. They often cluster around significant life events and transitions. Major life researchers have identified clear patterns in nightmare occurrence. Early adulthood transitions, 18 to 25, frequently trigger chase nightmares and exposure dreams, reflecting identity formation and social anxiety as young people establish independent lives. Career advancement periods commonly produce falling dreams and labyrinth nightmares, symbolizing fear of failure and uncertainty about navigating professional environments. Relationship milestones, commitment, marriage, parenthood, often coincide with teeth nightmares and trapped/suffocation dreams, representing anxiety about permanent changes and new responsibilities. Midlife transitions, 35 to 50, frequently feature apocalyptic dreams and identity exposure nightmares, reflecting the profound reevaluation of life meaning and purpose that occurs during this period. Retirement and late life changes commonly trigger labyrinth dreams and falling nightmares, symbolizing the navigation of a fundamentally altered life landscape. What's remarkable is how your nightmare patterns can serve as a personal psychological roadmap. By tracking your recurring nightmare themes, you gain insight into your subconscious priorities and concerns. Here are 3 powerful practices for working with your nightmares. First, keep a dream journal. Write down nightmares immediately upon waking when details are freshest. Note dates, emotions, and any waking life events that might connect. Over time, patterns will emerge. Second, practice conscious rewriting. While awake, reimagine your nightmare with a different ending where you gain control, confront fears, or reach resolution. This technique, used in some forms of therapy, can reduce nightmare recurrence and anxiety. Third, share your nightmares. Discussing troubling dreams with trusted friends or professionals often provides unexpected insights and reduces their emotional charge. The act of verbalization helps integrate unconscious content. I want to emphasize that while occasional nightmares are normal, persistent traumatic nightmares may require professional support. If you experience nightmares that severely disrupt your sleep or daily functioning for more than a month, consider consulting a sleep specialist or mental health professional. Throughout human history, across cultures spanning continents and millennia, people have recognized nightmares as meaningful communications rather than random neural noise. Modern neuroscience increasingly supports this view, revealing how dreams help process emotions, consolidate memories, and simulate solutions to life challenges. Your nightmares, as terrifying as they may be in the moment, are not your enemies. They're messengers delivering information you need but might be overlooking in your waking hours. By decoding their symbolic language, you transform these frightening experiences into valuable resources for growth and self-understanding. Now I'd like to hear from you. What recurring nightmares have visited your sleep? Have you discovered connections between your dream life and your waking challenges? Share your experiences in the comments below. If you found this exploration of nightmare symbolism helpful, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on psychology, personal development, and understanding the hidden aspects of your mind. I release new videos every Wednesday exploring the fascinating landscapes of human consciousness and subconscious patterns. For those interested in going deeper, I've created a free downloadable dream journal template designed specifically for tracking and interpreting nightmares. You'll find the link in the description below. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the darkest corners of your sleeping mind. Remember, even your most terrifying dreams have something important to tell you, if you're brave enough to listen. Sweet dreams, or perhaps more accurately, meaningful nightmares.